Classic TV fans, Rick 9G here. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about I Love Lucy, more specifically about Fred Mertz and how much money he actually had. Let's get right to the episode. But before I begin, Robert De Niro has a few words to say to all of you. Thanks for coming on the channel.
Do not forget to like and subscribe. Rick 9G appreciates your support.
So I wanted to talk about Fred Mertz in this episode because he is my favorite character of the show. Now, any fan of I Love Lucy will know that Fred Mertz is super penny pinching. He doesn't like to spend. He's cheap. They use all these words in the show to describe him. That includes his wife, Ethel Mertz, his friends, Lucy, and Ricky as well. I mean, think about this. Even when they went to California, Fred Mertz did not want to pay his share of the gas getting there to California. He also didn't pay 1 penny in regards to his hotel room. In fact, that went all through Ricky. The Ricardos were taking care of that. And so Fred and Ethel, they both like to really piggyback off of the Ricardos. And we all know that Fred Mertz was also the owner of the apartment complex in which he lived and the Ricardos lived, as well as all the neighbors, Mrs. Trumbull, Mrs. Benson, and the others in the building. Now, here's something that I thought of that I think is going to absolutely blow you away. Because we actually think of Fred as being penny pinching and cheap, we may think that he doesn't have much money or he's poor. I would say au contraire. That is absolutely wrong. I believe that Fred Mertz is actually filthy rich, and I'll tell you why. Number one, he does, along with Ethel, but I mean, he owns the apartment complex that the Ricardos, Mertzes, and everyone lives in. That had to have had some investment to get in there. He didn't just get that apartment for free. He worked for it. And remember, what did he do for work? Well, he used to be an old vaudevillian. If you don't know, people who used to work in vaudeville were basically a mix of theater performers and a street performer. And so they would get together, people would watch different acts, and Fred Mertz would be a singer, a dancer, he would do soft shoe, things like that, Red Robin, but he was also in a dance group with Barney Kurtz, or Ted Kurtz, depending on which episode you look at. Now, that is all Fred Mertz knows. He knows his vaudeville, he knows his music, dancing. He was an entertainer until he retired, and the Mertzes essentially retired, and he's living off of what? Well, he's obviously living off of the money that he saved up, his retirement and all that good stuff. But I want you to think about this. And the episode that I want to specifically show you that this is absolute proof that Fred Mertz and the Mertzes themselves, but I'm focusing more on Fred Mertz because he's the penny pinching one, that he is filthy rich. Now, the episode Oil Wells is a really interesting one. It comes from season 3, and they don't play it that much in syndication, but if you haven't seen it, you should really check it out. A rich oil tycoon moves into the apartment complex, and he has oil shares or stocks in oil that he wants to sell. And so Ricky and Lucy and Ethel and Fred kind of think that they want to buy some of these shares. Now, while the Ricardos are a little hesitant, that same morning, Fred Mertz, along with Ethel, buy the shares that are left over from that oil tycoon. Now, this is very important. How much did he spend for those shares? Well, we actually know because it's said in the episode. Remember, this is the 1950s, precisely 1954. Now, we have to do a little bit of deciphering because Ricky wants to buy half of those shares. Now, this is important to know because Fred says, okay, if you want to buy half of the shares, it'll be $600. Now, keep that number in mind. This is $600 in 1954 valuation. Today, that would come out to $6,783.50. Essentially, $7,000 to put in the stocks. But remember, this is only for Ricky to buy half of this. So Fred Mertz spent about $14,000 in today's valuation on stocks and essentially oil bonds. Think about that. That is super important. This is disposable income. He didn't get a loan or anything like that. He had no time. He got it the same morning. He bought them the same morning. So in fact, Fred Mertz has a chunk of change in his bank account because spending $15,000, that is today, but at that time, that's how much impact it made. $15,000 is a lot of money, and for him to put in oil stock, thinking he's going to get more, I mean, he had that money just lying around, so obviously he has more, and he is penny pinching, and maybe that's how he ended up having so much money, is that he never spends. Ethel even says she has one dress. Of course she jokes about it because she has other dresses in other episodes, but the point is that yes, this is irrefutable proof that Fred Mertz and essentially Ethel Mertz, that they have lots of money. And that's good to know because it's a bit of a secret in the show. And now when you point this out, you will now know that he is secretly a millionaire. Thank you so much for the support in videos like this. I love to make theory videos like this, look at behind the scenes information like bloopers, factoids, behind the scenes trivia, all this amazing stuff about classic TV shows and movies. If you want to see more, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe. It's free to do so, and it truly helps out my channel so much. That's the only way I can keep making these videos. We'll see you all next time, and don't forget, everyone, be hopeful. Thank you so much to all my supporters, especially my diamond tier patrons: Jerry D, Ricky, Citizen Kane 359, Jennifer P, David D, Kevin K, Sally Ann, and Vito L. If you want to be on this list, make sure to check out my Patreon description in the link below. Thank you so much again.